Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining. This is the day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. The weather today is better than yesterday. Well, use the WhatsApp number 0786316316 and talk to us. Also through the SMS line 20316, on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. At any other time, you can always contact us using those platforms, and someone will be sure to get back to you with whatever inquiry that you will be having. Well, today we look at some of the stories that are making headline, and just later on the show, we will be talking about suicidal thoughts. What really causes people to have suicidal thoughts? How can we identify this and how to prevent them? We'll be talking to one Nancy Kabiru, and she'll be shedding some light about that topic. But for now, we get it started. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered the military to take over parastatal based at the Ministry of Agriculture under CS Peter Munya. In a notice seen by Family TV dated Monday, September 7th, Munya directed Kenya Meat Commission Managing Commissioner James Ole Seriani to oversee the transfer of duties to the Department of Defense, that is the DOD. The notice read, and I quote, "Following the transfer of ministerial responsibility to the KMC to the Ministry of Defense by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, you are directed to facilitate a seamless transfer of KMC to the defense." Now, KMC has faced several graft cases, from the 6 billion scandal in 2019 to the 11.5 million Kenya shilling scandal, with former Managing Commissioner Ibrahim Isaac also roped into the scandal. In June 2020, CS Munya announced plans to modernize one of the KMC's production plants in Athi River at a cost of about 900 million Kenya shillings. President Kenyatta has been keen on using the military to safeguard his legacy, especially in the fight against corruption. In February this year, he established the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, the NMS, under General Mohammed Badi. Well, if you remember, this was greatly opposed by a section of the senators, including Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. Listen in.
The Speaker, as we speak at the moment, Senator Sakaja knows that his county has been militarized. It's no longer a civilian government. Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, is a military county. Something that I would never have imagined when we passed the Constitution of Kenya 2010. It's a shock that, Mr. Speaker, active military men who are supposed to operate in barracks and borders of Kenya are running civilian governments, Mr. Speaker. And yet this House is sitting here, ululating and clapping and cheering, Mr. Speaker. I gave a statement here when Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, was taken over. I made a statement here. Newspapers went out and said, I am so-and-so's man. Mr. Speaker, I want to remain consistent. The militarization of a civilian government in a county government, Mr. Speaker, is the worst form of violation and overturn of our Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, I want to warn this House. You might laugh in Nairobi and say you may not agree with the governor, you may not agree with the leadership of Nairobi at the moment. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow when you will be governors and our worst president is in office, all your counties will be militarized, Mr. Speaker, will be taken over by force and militarized. Mr. Speaker, it must be known by the people of Kenya that I, Kipchumba Murkomen, is totally opposed to the manner in which Nairobi is being run by, Mr. Speaker, a military men, and many more being seconded to this county.
All right, that is Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. And if we remember, the NMS took over the key duties of Nairobi County after the area governor Mike Sonko handed over the functions. However, this move will not sit well with his critics and Deputy President William Ruto allies, who accused him of disregarding the Constitution in his appointments. Now, let us talk about the militarization of parastatals, and even in the case of Nairobi. Do you think this move by the president, talking of militarization of these parastatals, and even the case of Nairobi, do you think this move by the president will help when it comes to the end of corruption and dealing with corruption in our country? Do you think militarization will help end corruption in our country and also in the counties? Send in your responses to that question that we are asking today. through the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316, and also through the SMS line 20316. Now, if we look at the COVID-19 situation in our country today, we have recorded 104 new cases in the last 24 hours, and this is after a sample size of 2,285 were tested. Well, now this brings the cumulative number of positive cases to 35,460 out of the 481,982 cumulative tests that have been done so far. Well, out of the 104 new cases, 101 are Kenyans, while 3 are foreigners. And this was said by the CAS for Health, Dr. Rashid Aman, who was speaking today during the daily briefing at the Afya House. And he said the youngest one is a 1-year-old toddler, while the oldest is a 75-year-old person. On a positive note, however, we have recorded 74 recoveries in the last 24 hours, and 41 of those that have recovered are from home-based care, while 33 are from various health facilities across the country. Unfortunately, however, on another note, 8 more people have succumbed to this virus.
104 have tested positive, bringing to 35,460 the total number of confirmed positive cases in the country. The total number of tests that we have conducted so far stands at 481,982. The 104 cases that we are reporting over the last 24 hours are mostly Kenyans, and we have 3 foreigners among these. 71 are males, 33 are female. The youngest is a 1-year-old child. The oldest is 75 years.
All right, our condolences goes out to the family and friends of those that have lost their loved ones due to COVID-19. And cumulatively, right now, we have 607 people that have died because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, remember, the question that we are asking today is, do you think the militarization of parastatals, and even in the case of Nairobi where it has been taken over by the NMS, do you think this will help to fight and finally end corruption in our country? Send in your responses. Shisia, and saying, Sarah, the military running parastatal is welcome. They should extend their services to transport, health, NYS, education, KPLC, Kenya Pipeline, and any other institution riddled with corruption. I like that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And this is another person, and is saying, nice music today. Regarding the militarization of public entities, we all know where this is heading. Looting, impunity, corruption is being taken a notch higher, where scrutiny will be largely diminished. And you're saying, we've seen even within the larger military department lost billions to a taboo to speak. Case in point, the Kenya-Somalia border wall that sank billions. I like that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Joe, you're asking, what is the name of that song? The name of the song is I Love God by Erica Campbell. Asante sana for tuning in today. Also send in your responses. What do you think about the militarization of parastatals? And even in the case of Nairobi, where we have the Nairobi County government being run by the NMS, do you think this will help to solve corruption in our country? Well, to other news, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi now says he will not apologize over his controversial remarks on President Uhuru Kenyatta and his family. Sudi said he did not abuse anyone, and those condemning him were brokers and looters who had destroyed the country. Now, the lawmaker insisted he did not speak on behalf of Deputy President William Ruto and that he has his own brains. Sudi, who was being condemned by leaders from all over the country, said he was very surprised to see so many women agitated over his remarks on ex-First Lady Margaret, that is Mama Ngina Kenyatta, sorry. And he was speaking during a press conference today in Eldoret. And he said he was a leader who cherished peace and led from the forefront in uniting Kenyans, but he would not accept to be intimidated.
Tuache kutishiana maisha jameni. Na mwaje kuweka at incitement ya Kenya. Kama kuna mtu inciter number 1 Kenya hii, ni ule kiongozi amepewa nafasi ili yule ajui mambo inafaa kutekelezwa haja ama anafaa kuendesha inji aje. Na ukweli lazima tuseme, na hakuna incitement. Na nilisema hivi, kama kuna mtu kipawa mbele kwa maneno ya amani ni mimi Oscar Sudi. Na wewe labda hutajua, lakini Mungu anajua, na mapenzi ya Mungu itafanyika. Hii maneno nyinyi kusunguka mabroka sawa, wenye mmekula mnajaribu kuoshwa, mnajaribu kujiosha, mnaleta maneno mingi. Wewe toa maoni yako kama wewe.
All right, and still in that news, a section of women in Gatundu, Kiambu County, and in Kiambu County have condemned legislators who insulted President Uhuru Kenyatta's mother while also holding demonstrations to express their anger. The Kiambu residents said the insult hurled to Mama Ngina Kenyatta were also directed to the entire women fraternity across the country. The women threatened to stage more peaceful demonstration until the two MPs went public to tender their sincere apology, or else stand being cast for doing the unthinkable.
Mama taifa na ni mama ambaye ametunza nchi kwa muda mrefu sana. Tuambie Oscar Sudi, fanya ile mambo ingine yote, lakini uheshimu wa mama wa taifa la Kenya. Hiyo ndio tunataka.
Na hatutaki mambo ya president kutusiwa ama shosho. Hatutaki, tumekataa na ndio tumetokea, tumeacha kazi zetu.
Wakati Mama Ngina Kenyatta alipoachwa na mume wake, alirudi nyumbani kwenda kulea watoto wake. Hatujai umuona hata wakati mmoja anawania kitu chochote cha kisiasa. So tunasikia vibaya sana tukimwona akiingizwa kwa mambo ya siasa, akitusiwa, akiambiwa mambo ya haina msingi. Tunataka kusema hivi, msidhani Wanagatundu hatujui siasa. Tunajua siasa, na wakati wa sasa ukifika tutateremsha, lakini wakati huu tumesema tunyamaze, rais wetu wafanye kazi na heshimiwe. Tumekasirika sana tumesikia vibaya sana kama Wanagatundu.
Well, also the Gikuyu elders have given the Kalenjin elders 7 days to apologize concerning this matter. And talking of peaceful demonstrations, not only in Kiambu, but they've also been carried out in Nakuru County and also in Mombasa County. While still talking about matters politics, the Third Way Alliance Party has expelled its party leader Ekuru Aukot over financial impropriety and also lack of transparency and to party members, that is. The party's Secretary General Frederick Okango today said that the decision was made without any malice, bias or even hatred, despite the former party leader hopping from one media to the other to disparage the party's decision. Ekuru Aukot's fate was decided by a resolution made by the party's National Executive Committee following his snub to appear before the party's disciplinary committee. And in a statement to the media, Okango highlighted chronology of events leading to the expulsion, including the alleged intentioned absenteeism from NEC meetings, impunity, and also intimidation.
You recall on 26th, we released a media statement that suspended the party leader, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, pending the disciplinary committee process, which was concluded on 4th. We are happy to report that that process was successful. And today we have a report to present to the public. But I want to read a statement following the outcome of that disciplinary process. And if you allow me, I'll share this statement also with you after this. Now, this statement is to the members of the public and to all media houses. It's chronology of events that led to the expulsion of the Third Way Alliance Kenya party leader, Dr. Ekuru Aukot. As we speak today, this NEC, which is the supreme organ of the party, has today expelled Dr. Ekuru Aukot from Third Way Alliance Kenya and also dismissed him from his position as the party. We wish to bring to the attention of our party members and members of the public that Dr. Ekuru Aukot has today been expelled from the party and dismissed from the office of the Third Way Alliance Kenya party lead, an act that has been dictated by Third Way's strong belief in the rule of law and adherence to the Constitution of Kenya. The party's National Executive Committee that's standing here today unequivocally confirms that our members made the decision without any malice, bias, hatred, despite the former party leader hopping from one media house to another to disparage the recent decision by NEC.
Well, indeed, our country is changing, or can we say the political regime is changing? How can the founder and the party leader of a certain political party be expelled? Anyway, Aukot was last week suspended after claims that he assaulted his deputy, Dr. Angela Mwikaliu, using crude words which were later published online by some bloggers. And he was also accused of defying a court order in a children's case, hence violating Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya. As we said, our country is changing. The question that we are asking today is that do you think the militarization of parastatals by the president, and even in the case of Nairobi County, where we have the NMS being in the forefront when it comes to leadership of the county, do you think this will help to stop and end corruption in our country? Well, this is Vincent Mulinge from Thika, and saying, praise God, Sarah. I don't think militarization is a solution because corruption is a disease which starts from the heart. If everyone could exercise responsibility and perform their job like God's servants, we would save our nation. I like that. Thank you so much, Vincent from Nairobi. Asante sana for tuning in today. I am really appreciative of that. I also have Faye, and Faith, you're saying militarization, believe it or not, is the way to go right now. Funny enough, the president has decided to go this way after all this time. Many people were calling for this. Let him do his job now. Thank you so much, Faith, for that response. We really appreciate. Now let's talk matters donkeys. Well, farmers have praised actually the government's move to close some donkey abattoirs, saying that since the ban, the cases of donkey thefts have drastically declined. Stakeholders are urging the government to implement a full ban on the slaughters of donkeys in a bid to ensure that there is no market for their products in our country. Kenya had initially legalized the trade of donkey meat in 2012 to amid growing market demand in China, and 4 abattoirs were listed and licensed slaughterhouses for these animals in 2016, with a capacity to slaughter 1,260 donkeys in a day. This, however, had an adverse impact on the donkeys' population in the country as the number dropped sharply, and experts are now warning that there could be they could be extinct actually by 2023 if this is not well managed.
The Minister for Agriculture actually declared a ban in this. It was a total relief to communities because people had begun tying donkeys to their beds. A donkey can be very dear, 30 dear. So when the ban was declared, amazingly then, to us people out there working with communities, the theft cases dropped drastically.
Well, those residing in Nakuru and even watu wa Kabarnet, if you're using the Nakuru-Baringo highway, then you have come across one slaughterhouse by the name Goldox. This has been on the neck of so many residents of this area, especially when we talk about the foul smell, the bad smell that is being emitted from this slaughterhouse. Well, let's wait and see where this goes, because again, experts have said by 2023, if this is not taken care of, we might not be having donkeys in our country. Well, tomorrow is World Suicide Prevention Day, and this is a day that we all need to look into, and actually it helps to prevent suicide cases from increasing in our country. Now, if you have seen the statistics, the numbers of suicide cases have been increasing, and especially with the pandemic and the tough economic times. But we had a chance to speak to one Nancy Kabiru from Hisia Psychologist Consultants, and I started off by asking her, what are suicidal thoughts? And this is what she had to say.
One, we tend to shy away from the topic, but a lot of people experience suicidal thoughts due to everyday challenges, maybe at work or even at home. So we define suicidal thoughts as an urge or a need to end your own life. In this case, you're volunteering or deciding when you're going to take your own life, maybe because of distress, and you want it to be at your terms. So those are suicidal thoughts.
I like what you said, at your terms. So maybe what exactly do you mean when you say that?
Most of the time, by the time someone is getting to a point where they feel they are no longer willing to preserve life, which is a natural inclination. Preservation of life is a natural inclination for every human being. So by the time you're getting to that point, you have been under so much stress, or you're feeling that you cannot relate with the people around you or the environment around you, or your self-perception is warped, in that you feel you can no longer contribute anything to the society, to yourself, or to the people around you, and so you don't see any value in living. You experience a sense of self-worthlessness, and so you decide, instead of continuing being in this misery, then you'd rather not be in existence at all.
Well, I like that. But with the current, with our society right now, what really can cause someone to have such kind of thoughts to end their lives?
There are so many things. We can start with the most common one, being exposed to social media. Being exposed to social media or internet-related activities, where we see the world as a global village, and so we have a lot of comparison going on. You may have someone struggling with issues such as financial income, and maybe you're comparing yourself now with people in different locations in the world, and wondering why your standard of living is a bit low. The other thing could be relationship challenges, and this could be intimate relationship or even parental or sibling relationship. I'd like to elaborate on that. Intimate relationship is where you're seeking to have love, to have affection, to even maybe start a family or be understood or belong, or somewhere where you want to call a home of your own. So when you go through rejection in intimate relationship, then a sense of worthlessness may start being or creeping in your mind. Parental relationship, most of the time we have a lot of people experiencing this, especially in their early, late teenage years, early 20s, especially when your parents have taken you through schooling and you have not developed a sense of initiative, in the sense that you are not able to maybe secure a job or even start a business or even get yourself out there. So you find your parents pushing you to become something that you don't believe you are. And so at this point, the relationship becomes strained. This age bracket is a tricky one because they will have addictive or destructive behaviors within their environment, of causing it to themselves or even the people around them. Then when I talk about relationship between siblings, we find families that are blended. So say you have a child and you have come to be with somebody else, so it's a blended family. Those children don't relate well with one another, and so bullying may be a factor that could be going on, but because you're not aware, you find that child wanting to end their lives because they are experiencing misery at their level. So those are some of the factors. Then there's one which we tend to overlook almost every other time, and this is a challenge with mental health problems. Just because we cannot see or tell when somebody is starting to be depressed, then we can, when they tell us that they are feeling suicidal or they are feeling low, we tend to not take them seriously. So depression or a mood disorder could cause someone to be suicidal. So those are the things I can think about. Even in working environment, if at work you're not having a stable environment, or you're having issues with your bosses or your colleagues, it could drive you to feeling of being suicidal.
All right. I like that you've pointed out about the work environment that can lead someone to being suicidal. But before we elaborate on that, there is one relationship that you've talked about, the intimate relationship, and that could be between the husband and the wife, right?
Yes.
So there is a case study of what happened in Limuru last week, where a young woman of about 22, age bracket 20 to 25, actually decided to commit suicide by drowning herself, and also drowning two kids with her, just because they had some push and pull with the husband, and that escalated also to the mother. Can we say that this is an example of both parental conflict and also intimate relation conflict?
Exactly. We can, if I'm not wrong, the lady must have had a 7-year-old.
Yes.
And about 2-3-year-old.
2-year-old baby,
Yes. So if you look at her age and that 7-year-old, that already tells you the lady got the child as a teenager. So she has had her fair share of struggles in life. Now, having the conflict with her and her husband, then going home and not being understood could have crumbled her world, because that is all she perceives as her world. And a call to parents, a call to spouses, be understanding to one another, understand each other's limits. If someone is not able to be as productive, say bring financial support as you would require, then look for ways to compensate or to help bring on the other hand. Don't leave that burden to one person. If it is the lady and she's not maybe taking care of the household requirement, then as a man, understand in which way you can chip in or offer her support, because it could be overwhelming. We also have to give it to her that she could have been going through post-traumatic, after delivery, the stress you get after delivery.
Is it postnatal?
Yes, postnatal depression. She could be going through that, or she could have just started digest the reality of her situation. And if you're a parent and your child comes to you and they are facing struggles, don't shun them away. Look for an accommodating way to help intervene in the situation. At the end of the day, that child remains to be yours. Even if they are 50-year-olds, they are your child. So look for a way in which you can help them to navigate their challenges. And don't chase them away. Help them to understand what they have brought to you is of importance, and you feel and you can walk with them. Because when you don't do that and you want them to now come up with their own personal solution to the challenge, and they've already reached their wit's end, then they are going to now suffer mood disorders. Maybe in the heat of the moment, she must have been angry and decided now to take an action such as that, which cost her her life.
All right. Well, let me take you a little bit back, and looking at things the way they are right now, suicidal thoughts cut across almost every kind of age, and especially the youth, and let's just say generally the youth are the most affected. Well, how can I know that my sibling, that my partner, that my friend has suicidal thoughts? What are some of the signs and symptoms that I should be on the lookout for?
All right. Before I go to the youth, let me elaborate on why maybe the youth or people who are coming out of an adolescent into the early 20s are facing these challenges. One, the brain multiplies at such a rapid rate that their mood will be everywhere. Secondly, they are in the sandwich generation where they don't want to be called kids, and they want so much to be known as adults or independent people. The other thing, there is peer pleasure, in that approval of another peer makes a lot of sense to them, than from an adult or from somebody supervising them. So going through this and navigating and trying to create an identity could cause one to be suicidal, and not to live that there is a requirement of academic performance or even to have an identity in what you're gifted at and be excellent in it. So all this could cause one to have personal pressure and maybe being suicidal or going through depression and ultimately deciding to get to that point. So how do you know that someone is going through a suicidal ideation?
Yes.
Most of the time they will say this as a joke.
Really?
And we will take it as a joke. Yeah. Someone will tell you, hey, you know, I wonder how people take their life by maybe hanging themselves. What kind of a knot do they make? That is an indicator that that person is already curious on that method. You find someone saying, oh, I don't know why someone would slash themselves or, you know, take poison, or if you take this kind of drug, then they would have this effect into your system. That already points to some sort of curiosity to the action. The second thing would be if someone has all of a sudden changed their behavior. Say they have become introverted, they've kept to themselves, or they have a sense of peace. The other thing, if someone has undergone trauma and they're in a situation that reminds them of the traumatic incident or keeps reminding them of the trauma that they have gone through, then instead of them processing the challenge, they then feel overwhelmed and they may want to end their lives. The other thing is if they are in an abusive home, abusive relationship, or where they are not heard, their views are not taken into consideration, they may become helpless. The other thing is exposure. As I said, exposure to internet, all these methods and options that are available could also be a way that someone can end up feeling suicidal.
All right. You've talked about the internet, and I remember, was it 2 years back, where we had so many people coming out to social media and writing that they were being suicidal, and that comes with bullying, cyberbullying. Could that be a reason as to why most of these people ended up actually taking their own lives because they aired what they thought, they had the expressions put out there, but because of how it was received by the members of public who are in the internet, could that be a contributing factor and a sign to watch out for?
It could be a contributing factor. One, as I said, if someone comes and says that they are feeling suicidal or has an indication or pointing towards a method or a mode of taking their life, it is important to give them an ear. What they need to feel is that they are being heard, they are important, they are in a safe space, and they need to be encouraged to see their contribution to the society, their importance, why it is important to continue living, how easy or how to overcome the challenge, the support that they will get or you will continue to offer them. You also need to encourage them to be initiative, in the sense that feeling suicidal could be as a result of a mental health challenge, and so we can't judge you so much because of this. But when you feel this way, then you need to reach out. And I am saying you can offer yourself as a person or a contact for this person to reach out so that they can get encouragement and comfort that they are seeking at that time.
Okay. And despite the fact that you might want to help, is there any professional way that we can seek help for these people who are feeling suicidal? And this is where Hisia comes in.
Yes. Actually, the greatest encouragement, as much as you may want to step in, it is important to have the person go through psychological assessment so that they are diagnosed with what they are suffering from. With a diagnosis, then a treatment plan can be employed to help this person overcome that challenge. So you need to reach out to a professional therapist or organization such as Hisia Psychology Consultant, where you can be supported. the reason why there are professionals who exist in this field is so that they can be able to pick the telltale signs, so that they can be able to encourage the person according to their skill set, so that they can be able to get to the level of that person by the time they are saying this, what is it that they have really gone through. Because at home or even where you are may not be safe enough or conducive for the person to completely be honest and vulnerable to share what it is they are going through.
Well, before I let you go, my dear, please allow me to ask, are suicidal thoughts reversible?
They're not reversible. You can stop experiencing suicidal thoughts, and it takes a self-initiative and support from the society. So a self-initiative is where you understand, you realize that this thought could lead you to harming yourself and the dangers of harming yourself. And knowing that those dangers are irreversible. And so you can then campaign against stopping the suicidal thought. We need to create an environment where people speaking out their mental health challenges is not looked at, quote unquote, as something out of the norm. So we need to create that environment. So we can stop suicidal thoughts. Someone can recover or learn how to live with any mental, physical challenge without necessarily wanting to get into despair.
Wow, I like that. Thank you.
Karibu sana, Sarah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, welcome.
All right, my dear. Bye. Thank you so much for joining the conversation today. After having such a powerful discussion with Nancy Kabiru, someone texted in and said, "Hello, Sarah. That was really helpful. I've been having a cousin who has been suicidal, and that has helped me know how to deal with her." Asante sana for that conversation. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Now, matatus will no longer be allowed to access the Central Business District as from November, as the Nairobi Metropolitan Service moves to decongest the city. Appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Administration and National Security, NMS Director General Mohamed Badi said plans to decongest the city are being finalized and will be launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta in November this year. He told the committee that NMS has been working with the National Transport and Safety Authority, that is the NTSA, adding that bus stations have been built in Ngara and Parklands, where all matatus coming from Thika will offload their passengers. He said the NMS had initially set eyes on the land where the Neno Evangelism Center is built, but a court halted the decision, forcing it to look for an alternative location.
Repaired most of the lights, but there is still a problem in terms of putting traffic lights everywhere. So we are engaging with them. Hopefully, before end of this month, we'll prepare that area for all matatus now coming from Machakos, Mombasa Road, Langata. That is where they'll stop. So they'll not enter CBD. That will be used for major traffic to ease the pressure on matatu and other public vehicles. Wananchi will use the train. We are embarking on the new railway city, and we have already started work. If members visit there now, you'll see a lot of change. They will be operational end of this month. That will be taking passengers from the railway station towards these matatu parking areas if somebody is going on an onward journey out of the road.
All right, according to the NMS boss, this is an idea that will help to decongest the CBD. Watu wa Thika, are we together? Utakuwa wanashukia Ngara. Anyway, an airport is the last place that you can actually expect to see some kind of, you know, humility and kindness, because people in the airport are just flying in and out of whatever country. But there is one frequent flyer from Houston Airport, and she has actually learnt and She's showing kindness to all the people, the passengers, and even the workers of this airport. How is she doing that? We call it the homemade kindness. She gives out stickers to passengers and even the flyers every time she is in the airport. And these stickers have the messages of kindness, the words of kindness in it. Look at this.
I want you to have a good day today.
Holding a handful of homemade happiness.
And I just want somebody's day to be better.
Catherine Knight is hoping to change the world.
Thank you. You're welcome.
One kind word at a time.
My son wrote that one. Oh, thank you so much.
While traveling for work,
have a good day.
She's handing out cards to strangers at the Houston airport.
I really just want to make the world a better place.
Well, you did today.
Each with a message meant to shine a bit of light into these dark days.
You have to wear a mask, so you can't see somebody smile or if they're sad.
You can't blame Heidi Botkin for being a little skeptical until the message sunk in.
Thank you. I'm super stressed out when I get the 3 kids by myself. So yeah, it was a nice little pick-me-up.
This random act of kindness project started 3 years ago. Catherine and her son Parker write uplifting messages for people they've never met and may never see again. More than 25,000 so far, including one for pilot Michael Jones.
It helped, you know. I think everybody's having their own personal struggles right now.
At a time when we have to stay apart, a small reminder we're all still in this together.
Well, Catherine Knight with his son, changing the world one positive word of kindness at a time. And during this time when we are having the pandemic across the globe, what a way to change people's hearts and actually to just better their days. Thank you so much for tuning in today. How about we take this challenge up to ourselves? Make someone's day better today, tomorrow, and the day after that. Send in your prayer requests because a prayer circle is coming in next after the show. And my name is Sarah Otieno. I will see you tomorrow.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.